Hi, I'm Lorraine. Welcome to the District Yoga and welcome to your restorative practice. Today's practice, we will need a few props. So we are going to start with a little myofascial release. So 2 tennis balls or 2 myofascial balls. We'll start with those. And then you'll need 1 bolster and then have 1 blanket nearby. If you need any additional props or you like to have additional blankets or blocks nearby, you're more than welcome to grab those. Otherwise, we're going to get started on our bellies. And I'll just show you briefly, we're going to touch into the hips. So if you can feel for your frontal hip bones, everybody's are in a slightly different anatomical position, but feel for your frontal hip bones. We're going to be about 1 inch down and 1 inch inside of those frontal hip bones. So we're just going to start out with a little bit of myofascial release. Come to your belly first. Maybe that blanket set up so that you have a little support for your head. Again, if you need to feel for the frontal hip bones, 1 inch down and 1 inch inside, place 1 ball at a time. And then once you get there, let the elbows come out wide, create a pillow with your hands, and just give yourself a couple moments just to land here. And we'll just use this myofascial technique in order to get into the hips a little bit, to hydrate the tissues in and around this hip joint. And hopefully use it to move away from whatever you just came from. So we find a little feedback, a little stimulus of our body. Whether you just came from work or conversations, allow yourself to just land here. Maybe noticing as you inhale, you press the balls away. On the exhale, just let them sink in to that area. Couple more rounds of breath. If you've never done a myofascial class with me or on this platform, then all we're trying to do is really, again, stimulate the connective tissue or the fascia. It's this living, breathing organism that is connected really from head to toe. And we're just using it to step into our restorative practice. Take your last 3 rounds of breath. And ultimately, you don't need a ton of this. 30 to 60 seconds is just fine. 1 more breath in. Big breath out. Move the balls off to the side where you will no longer need them for this practice. And just let yourself lay here. Maybe notice any sensations going down the legs. Notice that hydration of the tissues coming back into the area of the hips. Maybe you feel a little warmer in that space. Go ahead and take a huge inhale. Deep exhale. Bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, press your way up to a tabletop position and shift back into a seated position on your shins. Knees are open wide, feet possibly touching. And we're going to grab that bolster and bring it right in between our thighs. So mine is just right against my inner thighs here. We're going to come into a supported Shavasana. Again, if you had any additional props that you wanted to add to this, maybe another bolster on top, maybe that blanket on top, you could. Otherwise, just go and walk your hands forward. Turn the cheek off to one side and just land in what we call supported child's pose. A gentle folding into the hips now. Some even say a gentle folding into yourself. In today's restorative practice, we'll likely be holding each shape roughly 5 minutes, maybe a little longer for some. Just landing here. As we slowly start to transition our nervous system away from that sympathetic response. Noticing that the upper body really isn't doing any work. If you ever felt like the arms were working, let the elbows bend and let them be wide. This ever so gentle breath. Flowing in and out of your body. If you did want to turn the cheek off to the opposite side, you could. Maybe seeing if you can cultivate this sense of compassion. Compassion for yourself. Taking one more last deep inhale. Stay there, let that go. Only when you're ready, gently walking the hands back towards the knees. Gently lifting your upper body up. Turning that bolster so that it's parallel with the top of your mat and towards the top of your mat. Turn the knees off to the left side so that you come onto this left hip. We're going to come into a side lying pose. Go ahead and reach that left arm out overhead. And I want this so that your shoulder is just coming off of that bolster. So if you needed to bring it back towards the legs, you could. And I'm going to rest my head on my left bicep so that I have this bolster right underneath my ribs. My head is supported just by that arm, that left arm reaching, palm facing up towards the sky. Right hand can be on that right hip if that felt good, or on that right leg. Or it can be just settled onto that bolster in front of you. Finding a comfortable position for the feet and the legs. Mine are bent and off to that left side. And just allowing yourself to come into this second shape. On our left side. In this practice, we aren't aiming for a stretch. In fact, we're aiming for just a compassionate, easeful practice. One where you might find an ever so gentle stretch in whatever shape you're in. This one here, that side body. And we just land again. Coming back to that compassion for ourselves. Maybe compassion for how you arrive, just as you are. No need to change anything or shift. Knowing that at times you might drift. I invite you to stay ever so gently present. Just keenly aware of this present moment. Your body draping over that bolster. Completely supported. They say this practice is one that is good for digestion. As we transition over to our parasympathetic response, our body naturally starts to digest that nourishing food we once took in. Taking one last deep breath in. Stay there, let it release. Ever so gently pressing into that right hand and slowly, slowly lifting the upper body. We're going to bring our hands on opposite ends of the hips, coming through center, and then just dropping your knees off to the right. I'm going to switch sides so I can still face you. Once you drop those knees off to the right, again, find that support just underneath the ribs. Right arm extends out, and that shoulder just ever so gently drops off of that bolster. Your head supported by your bicep. And right away, you might notice this side feels a little different. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. Giving yourself the space to arrive. If ever you needed to make any adjustments, you could. Knowing that you don't have to be always still, especially if you're not quite comfortable. Coming back to the ebb and flow of your breath. Just watching it move ever so subtly. You might also notice this sense of coolness washing over your body. That's part of the flip of that switch to your parasympathetic nervous system. your rest and digest branch. Maybe coming back again to that compassion for yourself, for the resilience of this body. Natural ability to ebb and flow between your fight and flight response and your rest and digest response. Taking one more deep inhale. Big exhale. Only when you're ready, left hand comes in front of you and you ever so gently press your way up again. We're going to keep the bolster parallel with the top of your mat. We're just going to draw it down. And this is going to fall underneath your pelvis. So we already touched into the hips. Go ahead and come into a tabletop position. Find yourself on all fours. And then just gently lower the hips to that bolster. Lower the belly. Turn the cheek off to one side. Maybe the elbows draw out wide and you create a pillow with your hands. And just allow yourself to land here. We started this class touching into the hips. In our second to last shape, we'll touch them again. Except this time not chasing any sensation or stimulus. This time just allowing yourself to be completely and utterly supported by your props. Letting the hips be heavy. Letting the belly be soft. Maybe noticing the contact points of your body against the earth. If you'd like to flip that cheek off to the opposite side, you could. Giving both sides of the head and neck a gentle touch. Together, taking one last deep inhale. Exhale, just stay there, melt in just a little more. Only when you're ready, bringing your hands underneath your shoulders and pressing your way up to a tabletop position, shifting back to a child's pose. Maybe that forehead draws down to your bolster. Just using this for transition. One deep inhale. Exhale there. Slowly lifting the upper body up. We're going to bring the bolster down towards our legs. And this is going to support our knees as we come into our final pose, our final Shavasana. So go ahead and bring those legs up and over that bolster. With your blanket behind you, if not already, find it there. It will create a support for your head as you land your upper body onto the mat. Once you get there, you're going to take your hands on each side and just start to create a nice gentle neck roll. Finding a roll that feels appropriate to fill that space between your head, your neck, and the earth. Once you find it, go ahead and let the legs just be heavy. Let the hands fall maybe to the hips, maybe to the side body. And just let that head rest centered on that support of your neck roll. Your back body touching the earth, connecting, grounding. See if you can just fall in and melt into this final resting shape. Corpse pose. Shavasana. Complete and utter rest as you drape over your supports, your bolster, and your blanket. If you had an additional blanket, you could always drape it over the top of your body. This sense of ease. Washing from head to toe. If you find yourself drifting, again, staying gently present. If you'd like to stay, please stay. Otherwise, we will say that is the official end. And no rush to move, so I'll just bring my hands to my third eye and say thank you. Thank you for showing up and sharing your energy with me. Namaste.